Coming up, 2 N-gauge layouts, 2 HOe Gauge layouts, a hybrid HOe Gauge layout, and a nostalgic look at train sets of the past. I'm Andrew Gebbie from the Heritage and Model Rail channel. Join me on a visit to the Irvine Model Railway Show 2020, hosted by the Kyleshill Model Railway Club. Set in the spectacular surroundings of the Scottish Maritime Museum, this was the first model railway show of 2020 in Scotland.
This dual gauge layout is St Oztal and is exhibited by the Kyleshill Model Railway Club. St Oztal is situated in the Alps and consists of a standard gauge railway with a narrow gauge section. Operating on 2 levels, there is a cable car for the skiers with a funicular railway connecting the upper and lower village. Set in winter, depicting a time period in the 1960s and 70s. Measuring 8 foot by 3 foot across 2 boards, the back scene is a poster sourced from a European company that really adds to the whole effect. The snow effect was sprayed onto a plaster base with some of the spray cans from Christmas decorations, whilst the others were from Knock and Falla. The cable car and funicular were built from kits. Buildings are Falla and Kibri European kits. Track is HO and HOE from Fleischmann and comes with 3 rails and is not a 3rd rail power system. Control is DC. Stock is Rocco for the standard gauge and narrow gauge is Arnold and Fleischmann. Basic operation is 1 person with a shuttle running on the top level. My thanks to Alan Rosamond for the information. This vintage model railway is a nostalgic reminder of a lot of modellers' childhoods. Featuring Triang Hornby train sets and exhibited by Dave Coddington. Using Triang Super 4 track in a series of separate loops, Dave showed locomotives and stock that were featured in the 1970 Triang catalogue. The track covers 12 feet by 6 feet and is laid as it would have been in the 1970s on someone's floor at home. All the stock is from Dave's collection, which is also being added to with purchases from eBay. Dave has recently retired and is looking forward to turning his part-time hobby into a full-time occupation. This HOe Gauge layout is Kyleshill, exhibited by Graham Maxwell. Graham designed the layout using Templot to have fast shuttles at the back of the boards to contrast with slower diesel shunting locos at the front. The movements at the front are arranged around a traction maintenance depot with a few preserved diesel and steam units operating as well. The layout measures 16 feet by 3 feet across 4 4-foot boards. The back scene is custom built from MDF with the arches drawn out from the Metcalfe viaduct product. The shop fronts are from scale scenes which are printed off and glued onto card. The buildings are a mixture of kits from Metcalfe, Bachmann Scenecraft, Hornby Scaledale and Lima. Track is Pico Code 100 with medium and long radius points from Pico. The main body of the layout is DCC using NCE power cab with a shuttle line running on DCC. Stock is mainly Hornby and Bachmann and operation is normally 2 operators, but can be run with 1 person. My thanks to Graham for the information. This continuous loop N-gauge layout is Lochside, exhibited by Brian Robertson. The model is of a fictional location, set for the show in the steam days of the 1960s, although it can be run with modern era stock. In the era shown, the coal mine is working, but in the modern era, the mine becomes a working museum. Measuring 14 feet by 4 feet across 4 boards, the back scene is very simple, using blue emulsion on a heavy lining paper. Buildings are a mixture of scratch build and kits. The lock canal gates are by Langley. Trees are all hand built. Track is Pico FlexiTrack code 80. Point are Live Frog Pico. Control is DC with stock from Graham Farish, Bachmann and Dapol. Operation is normally 2-man to no timetable. My thanks to Brian Robertson for all the information. This continuous loop N-gauge layout is Crianlarich, exhibited by Renfrewshire Model Railway Club. The layout shows part of the West Highland Railway at Crianlarich, where the line divides into 2 branches, one to Oban and the other to Fort William. Measuring 16 feet by 3 feet across 3 boards, the layout can be expanded to 35 feet to include a model of Fort William Station and goods yard. The back scene is hand painted to represent the local area. Buildings are all scratch built with track and points by Pico code 80. It is intended to replace the point control at some time in the future with servos. Control is DC with 2 operators. Stock is from Graham Farish, Minitrix, Dapol and the N-Gauge Society. The crane is a gem kit. The die-cast helicopter is from Corgi and is very close to N-scale proportions. Vehicles are mostly from Oxford die-cast. My thanks to Alex Irvine for providing the information. This 00 end-to-end layout is Arbroath Station, exhibited by Dundee Model Railway Club. This description of Arbroath Station has taken approximately 2.5 years to build, with many hours of research. It is set in the decade from 2000 to 2009, so uses modern era rolling stock, including the occasional SRPS rail tour. This was also the time when there was a programme of upgrading the line between Dundee and Aberdeen, hence the appearance of maintenance of way MOW traffic now and again. Modeller's licence is used in the making of this layout, the most obvious change being the straight, where there is in fact a sharp curve through the station, hence the 20 mph speed limit. Modelling the curve accurately would have made it unsuitable for showing at exhibitions. Another noticeable difference is the depiction of the old mill buildings at the signal box end, where Morrison's supermarket and car park are now situated. To create more operational interest, Platform 3 has been reinstated. Measuring 32 feet by 2 feet across 8 boards, 4 scenic and 2 fiddle yard boards at each end. Each fiddle yard is a traverser to allow multiple sets to be run. The layout is built in 00 scale using Pico fine scale track and operated by Digital Command Control DCC. The points are worked by Tortoise slow motion point motors with other operating items, crossing barriers, signal and uncouplers, worked by miniature servo motors. All of the structures are scratch built to scale. The buildings are made from a mixture of 2mm mounting card and or plywood and completed with appropriate textured plasticard. The footbridge was constructed using aluminium, brass and plastic with 1 or 2 curses thrown in for good measure. Stock is Bachmann and Hornby, with nearly all the locos being chipped for sound. The layout is run by 2 operators to no particular timetable. My thanks to Malcolm, Paul and Neil for the information.
To watch more videos like this, click on the playlist and I'll see you there.